Well, welcome once again to CityLine. I'm Jeff Leaders, and Happy New Year! Amanda Westbrook is on vacation. In our segments today, we'll have Government Relations Officer Randall Lewis coming on. But first, we are joined by our esteemed City Clerk, Doris Sorum, and Jessica Jenkins, the City Clerk Department Office Assistant, and welcome once again to CityLine. So today we're going to talk about committees, boards, and commissions. And Doris, why don't you start us off with what is the purpose of all the committees, boards, and commissions for the City of Tacoma?
So the committees, boards, and commissions, what I first want to tell you is that we have 17 of them, and we have approximately 200 volunteers serving on the committees, boards, and commissions, and the purpose of them is to receive input or recommendations or suggestions from members of the community so they can take those recommendations and take them up to the city council so they may go out and look for, so for example, the Transportation Commission. They are engaged in their neighborhood, and so they may go out to the neighborhood and they may talk to people like what's best for walking or riding or even parking or transit, and then they may take that and put it into a report that eventually goes up to the city council.
Nice. So it helps to get the neighborhood input and then develop a plan that gets evaluated by other commissions and boards and like planning and zoning and all those and all the way up to the city council for a final decision.
Yeah.
All right. So when a person maybe has a passion or gets excited, about something that's happening and wants to participate, what is the interview and appointment process like?
When a vacancy occurs on the committee, board, or commission, the city clerk's office sends out a press release and we open it up for about 2 weeks, accept applications. When the period closes, we send all of the applications to their designated standing committee, and then interviews are scheduled. We ask the applicants to be prepared to provide a 2 to 3 minute oral presentation from questions we provide so they're not surprised, and then we inform that the committee members may ask them follow-up questions. When the interviews have been completed and the clerk's office is informed that recommendations are made, we inform the applicants, that they are invited to a council meeting to be formally appointed and recognized and sent to their actual committee, board, or commission.
Nice. Now, just a follow-up question. Do we seem to, maybe it runs in waves about, and the amount of applicants that we get? At times it seems like there are a lot of applicants for certain committees, and then at times it seems like the press release comes out a number of times before we actually fill it. Is that accurate?
It has happened in the past where a new committee, board, or commission was created and we received over 60 applications for 12 positions. So they do have to review them and decide how many they would like to bring in, who is more qualified. They kind of review the applications.
Okay.
And if we can't fill it, we'll go out again.
Right. So what is the appointment structure? Is that different from the process?
So each, that's for me, Jeff. So each standing committee for the City of Tacoma, which is the Economic Development Committee, the Government Performance and Finance Committee, the Infrastructure Planning and Sustainability Committee, and the Community Vitality and Safety Committee, each one of those City Council standing committees has committees, boards, and commissions underneath them that report to them. So for example, the Economic Development Committee, they have the City Events and Recognition Committee, they have the Foss Waterway Redevelopment Authority, and the Tacoma Arts Commission. The Government Performance and Finance Committee, they have the Audit Advisory Board, the Board of Ethics, and the Public Utility Board. The Infrastructure Planning and Sustainability Committee, they have the Board of Building Appeals, Landmarks Preservation, Planning Commission, Sustainable Tacoma Commission, and the Transportation Commission. And finally, the Community Vitality and Safety Committee, they have the Citizen Police Advisory Committee, the Tacoma Area Commission on Disabilities, the Commission on Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, Human Rights Commission, Human Services Commission, and the Tacoma Community Redevelopment Authority. So each time each one of the committees, boards, and commissions have interviews, they go to these particular standing committees of the council.
Great. Now, when you take an overall look at it, it just feels like it is a total effort to reach down into the community and say, you know, we might be elected, but we want to get your opinion and your feedback, and we want those ideas to generate at that level and then come up. Is that accurate?
That's absolutely accurate. And the council just really, they really love the volunteers that come forward, and because they're really taking their time out of their day and doing work that's they're not being paid for. So the council really enjoys and loves their volunteers. They do a lot of recruiting. Recruiting also happens on the committee level with other members that are on each of the committees. They go out and recruit. We've been really blessed. Our community really comes and wants to work for the better of the city of Tacoma.
Yeah, it's a way to volunteer.
Absolutely.
Just like serving at the food kitchen or whatever else.
Right.
It's a way to better Tacoma.
Absolutely.
So, all right. If we talk about the general compositions of the committees, boards, and commissions, I mean, some people might go, I'm not worthy of that or whatever. But what would you say to that? What is the general composition of the committees, boards, and commissions?
The city council members they attempt to ensure that they can have membership representation of all ages, culture, gender, and geographic representation. They want all council districts to try and participate in all of them. Some committees, boards, and commissions also have designated positions for specific expertise. So they try to just have it all well-rounded for each one.
So
representation.
All socio and economic, and yeah, okay, great. Are there residency requirements? I would assume there are, but
Well,
some specific committees, boards, and commissions have residency requirements. City council does try to prefer keeping it within the city residence council districts. However, if they are residing outside and they have a specific expertise, council members, if deemed appropriate and they have the expertise, they will appoint them or recommend them.
very good.
and sometimes there's, the council's asking for representation. So for a member that serves on Metro Parks. So that Metro Parks member may not live in the city of Tacoma, but that specific committee may need that representation. So that's another reason that they may be outside the city limits and be appointed.
Sure. So are there upcoming vacancies on committees, boards, or commissions?
We actually have 5 committees, boards, and commissions that are accepting applications. We have Tacoma Community Redevelopment Authority, Human Rights Commission, Transportation Commission, Sustainability Tacoma Commission, and the Commission on Immigrant and Refugee Affairs.
Okay.
We do accept applications all the time, though, so if we accept them and it's not an open period, we will keep them on file until interviews are scheduled.
So I know this is awkward, but the reason for the vacancies on those commissions could be anything from, are they term limited, or or just people chose to end their time on the committee, or what?
It can be both. Term ends. The term limits do happen, and then often when people move out of the resident or Tacoma, they have to resign or because of a specific position to a district, or it can happen for many reasons. Sometimes if there's multiple, we will go out again an additional time to help fill the positions.
Sure. So Doris, how can members of the community apply?
So we have a couple ways. You can go out to the website at cityoftacoma.org/CBCs. A lot of times when we talk about committees, boards, and commissions, we reference them as CBCs. You can absolutely fill out an application, download it, print it, fill it out, send it in to the city clerk's office. Or you can drop it off in person in the city clerk's office or at the customer service center in the Tacoma Municipal Building.
Okay. So I know you said you had 5 committees that have vacancies now. How often do you have to advertise for vacancies?
So we advertise quarterly. We try to keep it on a quarterly basis, but sometimes when there's more vacancies than we are expecting, we will go back out and do some recruiting and try and get some more members on that particular committee that needs members.
Okay. Now, when you look at the CBCs, I know there's quite a variety. How often do they meet? I mean, I would imagine some might meet every other week or something, and some might meet quarterly.
Right, you're absolutely right there too. We some meet quarterly, some meet twice a month, some meet weekly, and then depending on their workload, I believe the Human Services Commission, if they are looking at applications or they're reviewing a certain grant, that they may meet twice a week until that work is done. So some may take a lot of effort for a couple months and then may not meet. They may meet monthly for the rest of the year, but for the most part, it's once a month or quarterly, weekly.
Okay. So before we end the segment, why would people want to be on a committee, board, or commission? What are the reasons that normally they get active in a committee, board, or commission?
They want to participate in their neighborhoods, or they see activities going on and they want to help promote for it and encourage the neighborhoods to combine and join together and make things better or make changes. And like the Transportation Commission help with anything that's regarding that, with like pedestrian sidewalks, anything that's easier and nicer for the neighborhoods.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So it's or just to volunteer, be part and help make Tacoma better.
Right. And some people use it to just to learn about how the city government works. Mm. You know, this may be a first opportunity for people to see how excuse me, how city government works.
Sure. So if they have any thought about future elected office service, so that kind of thing, they might want to get involved so they can better understand how the process works, even if it's just in that narrow lane to start with, and then they could branch out and jump onto a different commission, board, or committee.
Right. A lot of our council members have started out on a committee, board, or commission, either the planning commission, a neighborhood council, even though those aren't referred to as a committee, board, or commission, but a lot of the elected people will start out in a neighborhood council, on a planning commission, or one of the transportation commission. So
sure. Mm-hmm. And I guess too that when you think about it, people shouldn't minimize their own talents. Every perspective is a valued perspective. So you get on a committee, board, or commission, and you're able to share your insight, which is maybe different from the next person's insight, but together it's a perspective to give everyone a thought and step back and say, ooh, maybe we didn't think of it that way, so we should, and take that all together to make a great plan for the city of Tacoma. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, again, how do people apply? Just one last time.
So you can go to our website at www.cityofTacoma.org/CBC. You can come into or call the city clerk's office. We will mail you an application. You can download an application off our website and bring it in or mail it in.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Doris, Jessica, thank you for joining us today on CityLine.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. And we'll be back with Government Relations Officer Randall Lewis in just a moment.